But we basically are going to send them various pieces of very sophisticated military, and they're going to pay us 100% for them.
For the first time since returning to the White House, Donald Trump agrees to send more weapons to Ukraine, but not for free. Patriot missiles will be dispatched with a 100% payment invoice. What's really changing? And why is all of Europe starting to open its wallets for Kiev? Let's explore the calculations behind these massive aid packages as bombs continue to fall in Lviv and drones keep casting shadows over Ukraine's night sky.
On July 13, U.S. President Donald Trump announced that the U.S. will send additional Patriot air defense missiles to Ukraine, while emphasizing that Washington will be reimbursed for the cost of these weapons. This move marks a significant shift in Trump's policy, as since returning to the White House earlier this year, he had not approved any new batches of weapons for Ukraine.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have a meeting with the Secretary General who's coming in tomorrow. But we basically are going to send them various pieces of very sophisticated military, and they're going to pay us 100% for them. And that's the way we want it. And we've been trying to get that again. I don't think Biden ever asked for it. We're in for about $350 billion. Europe is in for $100 billion. That's a lot of money, 100, but they should be in actually for more than us. So as we send equipment, they're going to reimburse us for that equipment. Doesn't that sound good? That's the way it should have been a long time ago. I haven't agreed on the number yet, but they're going to have some because they do need protection. But the European Union is paying for it. We're not paying anything for it, but we will send it. It'll be business for us, and we will send them Patriots, which they desperately need, because Putin is really surprised. A lot of people, he talks nice and then he bombs everybody in the evening. So there's a little bit of a problem there, and I don't like it.
Previously, Trump focused on pushing for negotiations with Russia, believing he could end the conflict, which he claimed his predecessor, Joe Biden, had failed to do. Since the start of Trump's second term, Ukraine has only received U.S. weapons through the remaining budget from President Biden's administration, as Trump opposed requesting additional aid funding, arguing that it could make Russia more hardline and diminish prospects for peace. Speaking on the sidelines of a conference discussing Ukraine's recovery in Rome, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz announced he would propose providing air defense systems to the country.
We will also have a video conference with this so-called coalition of the willing during the conference in Rome and discuss some more details about further deliveries and further support for Ukraine. In particular, further air defense systems are up for decision. I will also make corresponding offers that we could realize from Germany.
Systeme der Luftverteidigung zur Entscheidung an, und ich werde da auch entsprechende Angebote machen, die wir aus Deutschland heraus realisieren könnten.
But I am confident that we will succeed. The French president and I have spoken about this several times. The employees are also talking about it. We are also preparing the next meetings with the French government. And I very much hope that just like the joint tank project, we will succeed in achieving joint European procurement. But these procurements must be in line with the requirements I have just described. Less complex, although this is particularly difficult with an aircraft like the FCAS, Future Combat Air System. I am grateful that there are also signals from Washington that support for Kyiv's air defense is now being reconsidered. We, referring to Merchant Rutt, have therefore discussed in particular how we can work together to strengthen Ukraine's air defense. I won't go into details, but I can say this much. Germany will continue to make a substantial contribution to this.
Following the Ukraine Recovery Conference 2025 held in Rome on July 10th to 11th, Kyiv received new funding commitments worth over $4 billion from the international community, opening prospects for post-war reconstruction. According to an official announcement from Ukraine's Ministry of Communities and Territories Development, the total value of agreements signed at the conference reached 3.55 billion euros, equivalent to $4.15 billion. Deputy Prime Minister Alexei Kuleba emphasized that this is clear evidence of strong support from the international community. Among the significant agreements, notable are a €100 million loan from the Council of Europe Development Bank to support housing for Ukrainian citizens, along with a €134 million grant from the European Investment Bank for key transport infrastructure projects. In particular, a cooperation program with Italy worth €32.5 million will focus on preserving cultural heritage in the Odessa region. In addition, a memorandum of understanding between Ukraine and the Italian Foreign Ministry was signed to provide 100% insurance for export loans up to €1.5 billion, aiming to boost bilateral trade and investment. Furthermore, the Ukraine Investment Framework, UIF, successfully mobilized €929.3 million from the EU and development banks, focusing on key sectors such as energy, urban infrastructure, and business support. The Ukrainian Ministry of Economy also announced a $200 million grant from the World Bank to be used over the next 5 years to prepare large-scale projects. Experts note that these commitments not only aid Ukraine's post-war recovery, but also strengthen its position as an attractive investment destination in the future. Amid the ongoing escalation of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the latest military developments indicate that both sides are intensifying their offensive and defensive operations. Russia continues airstrikes targeting Ukraine's military infrastructure, while Ukraine focuses on intercepting aerial attacks. The Russian Ministry of Defense stated that its forces used long-range, high-precision air-based weapons and attack drones to strike military industrial facilities and military airfield infrastructure in Lviv, Kharkiv, and Lutsk in the early morning of July 12, with all targets hit. Russia also maintains offensive operations in the Sumy, Kharkiv, Donetsk, Dnipropetrovsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson directions. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that Russia launched 26 cruise missiles and 597 drones into Ukraine on Friday night. Approximately 20 missiles and the majority of the drones were intercepted.
On Friday night alone, 339 Shaheds were launched. By evening today, air raid sirens were sounding again. Shaheds are again in the sky. A significant number are being shot down by our defenders, but unfortunately, not all. In addition, the Russian military is increasingly using hundreds of special drone decoys that imitate Shaheds in every wave of attacks. Their goal is to overload our air defenses and make it harder to intercept Shaheds. This is a deliberate and vile form of terror. Unfortunately, there were fatalities last night from a Russian strike. 2 people were killed in Chernivtsi. My condolences to their families and loved ones. Dozens were injured in Chernivtsi, Lviv region, and Kharkiv. All are receiving the necessary assistance. There is also damage in Volyn. We are doing everything to ensure Ukraine receives as many means to shoot down drones and missiles as possible. We are nearing a multi-layered agreement on new Patriot systems and missiles for them. We are investing in our own production, especially of drones, including interceptor drones. We will continue active drone operations on Russian territory in response to their strikes. As always, we will act asymmetrically and effectively.
In recent strikes targeting areas far from the front line, Ukraine has attacked several military airfields in Russian territory, believed to be bases for deploying strategic bombers. Ukrainian drones and missiles have also repeatedly hit other infrastructure facilities. According to Russia, Ukraine was behind a train derailment on March 31st that killed 7 people. The European Union in recent months has allocated hundreds of billions of euros to expand its defense industry and support Ukraine in boosting domestic weapons production. Major General Christian Frieding, who oversees Germany's military aid coordination for Ukraine, stated that Berlin will deliver the first batch of German-funded long-range missiles to Ukraine in the coming weeks. Russia has repeatedly warned that Ukraine's use of foreign-supplied missiles is a sign of direct Western involvement in the conflict. Moscow also claims that Ukrainian soldiers cannot operate advanced weapons systems without support from foreign experts. The U.S. resumption of Patriot aid under the full payment model marks a clear shift in the Trump administration's approach to the war in Ukraine. Meanwhile, Europe is accelerating its commitments in both financial and military terms, from air defense to reconstruction. The geopolitical balance is quietly shifting, but its consequences will shape the course of the conflict and Ukraine's future in the months ahead. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, and see you in the next analysis.